As government and relevant agencies step up the war on poaching, cases of wild animals being killed for profit gains has not been put to control. Elephants' existence still remains the biggest challenge for conservationists as poachers target the animal for its horn that is sold mainly in the Asian continent. Wednesday will be World Elephants Day, and KTN will air a special documentary to mark that day immediately after KTN Prime. Make a date with Dennis Onsarigo then on KTN News.
How do you arrest an armed person?
The names of the people that are involved in this, they are well known.
The problem is really a significant problem.
Ilikuwa nawekwa as if ni mtu alikuwa anapaga kuni.
If you love our wildlife, if you're keen on conserving them, you need to make a date with Dennis Onsarigo. That is on Wednesday, immediately after KTN Prime. So, right, the High Court has directed police to hold 3 Stepjoy students under arrest as the arson case investigation continues. The students could be charged with murder if there is sufficient evidence to support the charge. The case of Stepjoy School brings to question of just how safe boarding students are in school. Sharon Momanyi puts this into perspective for us.
A week ago, catastrophe struck at the Stepjoy Boys High School in Limuru when fire razed down a school dormitory, killing 3, injuring 8, and leaving all in utter shock. And while investigations into the cause of the fire are ongoing, a different important conversation is taking center stage. Just how safe are our schools?
We all know that in 2007 to 2008, the Ministry of Education joined together with all Africa churches and other partners to come up with a school safety guidelines, and a school safety standards manual was developed and released to all the schools. But we are aware that these guidelines are far from being implemented in the schools, at least from what we have been seeing around. We have conducted research on the issue of safety. And for sure, nearly 50% of head teachers in public primary schools do not have a copy of the ministry's guidelines.
But wellness and safety of students go beyond physical preparedness against accidents and disasters. Social wellness is crucial too. Just days ago, 35 students from Central Region were reportedly caught red-handed, smoking bang and having sex inside a bus. The bus was ferrying them to Nairobi after schools closed. The incident made for alarming news, but NACADA chairman John Mututho describes it as a social illness.
A combination from cigarette to sex addiction to computer addiction to bang addiction, over 50% of them. So we can't really come on overnight and try to demonize all of them. We need to treat them. They are treatable. Most of them have not reached a stage where they come to be treated.
Mututho has also condemned the public undressing of the students and the posting of the naked pictures online. There are calls to have a review of disciplinary methods to students in the wrong.
We should be able to be called in, take that group, and do 2 things. Number 1, let them lead us to the source. That's critical. Number 2, start a treatment process. That's a detoxic process and treatment. Then we head on to treatment and rehabilitation process.
Moranga women representative Sabina Chege faults the advertisement of alcoholic beverages to their increased use among minors. Add to this the growing concern over the consequences that the internet, which has become very accessible to teenagers, has on their behavior.
I am moving the motion. It's already on drafting. It's already been drafted, the bill, to ban any advertisement of alcoholic beverages, because we'll be doing nothing. And we cannot afford big companies trying to say that they are making billions, while we can see the government is spending a lot of money here. And we're also losing a lot. Families are being broken because of alcoholism.
We think policing is everything. Criminalizing mobile phones and all that is everything. But we cannot control access to mobile phones all the time. Let us empower them how to use the mobile phones responsibly, how to use internet positively for learning and for getting information, rather than just imagining that we can now close them out of technology in this age of time.
Parents expect schools to be safe havens for their children, places where they not only get academic education but social development. The recent cases indicate a critical need to have crucial conversations on the wholesome wellness of children in schools. Sharon Momanyi, KTN News, Nairobi.
Let's now focus on a story that has been the subject of discussion, especially on social media. The fate of Pastor James Nganga of Neno Evangelism now lies with the Director of Public Prosecutions, Kenya-Uganda. This morning, Inspector General of Police Joseph Boynet handed over a report that contained recommendations on the controversial pastor's case. The report that has been backed by evidence recommends that Nganga face charges of causing death through dangerous driving. It also proposes that disciplinary action be taken against at least 7 police officers who attended to the scene, and that Simon Courier, the man who told police that he was behind the wheel at the time of the accident, be charged with giving false information. The report that may or may not be adopted by Kenya-Uganda was compiled after Inspector General of Police Joseph Boynet ordered a fresh probe into the accident following public outcry. Meanwhile, Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Nkaiseri ordered that once the DPP comes up with a charge sheet for the case, the pastor be arrested immediately and taken to court. Let's now focus on our border, that is Uganda again. And Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has dismissed calls for term limits in Uganda, saying it was a decision made by Ugandans themselves. At a press conference at State House Entebbe, Museveni hit out at US President Barack Obama, asking him to stop lecturing African presidents on their tenure in office. President Uhuru Kenyatta said the people should decide how long their rulers stay in power.
That I am a very popular person. I'm doing the right thing, and I have no apologies to make to Obama or anybody else. And when you see what's happening in Uganda here, every 5 years of those years you are talking about, there is always, Uganda is at a higher level. As I speak today, the Uganda government is able to finance by itself almost 93% of the budget. That was not the case at the beginning.
Well, Your Excellency, I don't think it's a question of defending. I think, as you said, it's a question of choice, because, as you have correctly said, the people of Kenya, through choice of the constitution that they voted in, stated that they were desirous to have term limits. But like I said before in Parliament, the most important thing here is the democratic will of the people. That is the most important aspect. So if the people themselves decide that they are not desirous of having term limits, you can also not force the issue on term limits to somebody who has said no. If the people are desirous, you must also, like we do in Kenya, abide and say the people of Kenya have constitutionally stated that they want term limits. So we must abide by the will of the people, because the Constitution is the embodiment of the will of the people.
Let's bring you back into the country. 3 Nakuru-based police officers have been interdicted for alleged involvement in criminal activities. Nakuru regional commanders say the 3 are suspected to have been involved in abduction and attempts to extort 300,000 shillings from unsuspecting civilians. Kamche Menza reports from Nakuru.
Police Regional Coordinator Gideon Amala has confirmed that the 3 have been interdicted pending the outcome of a case facing them. The 3 appeared before Kericho Senior Resident Magistrate Lillian Kinale, charged with 2 counts of abduction and attempt to extortion. But the 3 and their accomplice denied the charges. and the three were released on 100,000 shillings bond with a surety of similar amount. The accused were represented by Nakuru-based advocate David Mongeri and his Kericho colleague Erastus Orina. Lawyer Mongeri told the court that the suspects were arrested at a Kericho hotel as they were en route from Kisumu, where they had conducted an arrest pursuant to a report filed in court. The senior resident magistrate ordered the district criminal investigation officer to carry further investigation. The matter would be mentioned on August 24th for fixing overhearing date. Two other police officers are expected to appear in court tomorrow for allegedly releasing a robbery suspect and later reportedly found with stolen goods from a shop in Kabarnet town in Baringo County.
Sisi raia tunajua iko baadhi yao ambao huwa wanashirikiana na majambazi zugu, wanakodisha silaha zao. Kwa hivyo ningetaka wale ambao wameshikwa wachukue hatua za dharura, wapelekwe mahakamani ili iwe funzo kwa hao na wale wengine.
Nakuru DCIO James Lelia has noted that they will cooperate with the public to identify and arrest any officers caught on the wrong. Kamche Menza, KTN News, Nakuru County.
Reactions from members of parliament, Ugandan members of parliament, on that speech by Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta. Let's bring in Angelo Izama, political analyst from Uganda. Angelo, if you can hear me, thank you for joining us on KTN Prime. I'd like to get your thoughts on that speech by President Uhuru Kenyatta that touched on the youth, business, security, and regional unity.
Well, I think that Uganda's situation with Kenya has turned the corner several times in the past 3 years, but on two key issues, security and the economy, there seems to be a meeting of minds in the state houses. And I was expecting nothing but a continuation of these announcements of, we are going to continue doing projects together, especially around security in the region, on terrorism, but lately also on the focus of the two presidents on deepening our interconnectivity, particularly by putting their support behind big infrastructure projects.
Angelo, so how would you define the relationship between Kenya and Uganda in the last couple of years, 3 or 4, if I can say?
I think President Museveni has invested in cultivating a much more sustainable relationship built around this idea of East African community. A lot of people around Uganda would have hesitated, essentially because Kenya is a big economic power at our borders, controls the coast. In more normal times, you wouldn't consider that a positive stance because they can cut you off of the coast. But I think the Ugandan government of the day has taken the view that progressive relationships with Kenya involve joint investments that would further embed the Kenyan economy with the Ugandan economy. But also the situation in Somalia has changed things for us so much so that the main export of Uganda, which is security, has become also essential to Kenya.
Yeah, it's now a regional issue. Angelo, allow me to quote a little bit of what President Uhuru Kenyatta said. He said, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. And he made a call for a unified agenda, saying grand Pan-African dream of eliminating the remnants of colonial boundaries, saying the Federation will be prosperous and secure, a powerful member of community of nations able to defend our interests. Is he, in a way, from listening into that speech, and that speech was sort of leaning towards a unified Africa, how hopeful are you that we can have a unified Africa in the next couple of years, and what must the region do to achieve that?
Not in your lifetime or my lifetime, and presidents can, sing like swans when they're in power, but the political realities are for you and I to comprehend. I think that African unity at a continental level is just a dream. Our own president has considered that it's going to be a gradual process. Let's talk about what brings Kenya and Uganda really together, and it's just a handful of projects that we're talking about here. and their infrastructure projects on the one hand and economic ties on the other, but also joint security around our commitment in Somalia. Once those things, if they were to disappear, we don't have as much in common anymore. And like I said, Uganda has to deal with the reality that Kenya is an economic bully at our borders that controls the coast. And if relationships with Kenyan politicians were to change, we would find ourselves in a bind. And policymakers here have to prepare for that eventuality regardless of who's in power.
All right, Angelo Izamo, political analyst from Uganda, thank you for speaking to us on KTN Prime.